Hi everyone, it's Lindy and I'll Create, and today I'm going to make a real cute ice cream cone wreath. So the first thing I did was I took that styrofoam cone and I cut it in half, and I'm going to cover one end of it with this triangle that I cut out of a brown paper lunch bag. And I basically tried to just glue it to itself, so I didn't have to put too much glue onto the styrofoam. And for this, you could also use the brown craft paper, or you could just paint the cone. This is just a bottom layer because I am going to put something over the top of this. So once I had that covered, then I took some burlap and I wrapped it in that. And the reason I put that brown paper bag on there was so that you wouldn't see any white through the burlap. And it also gives something for the burlap to glue to. Now, you don't have to use burlap. You could just use that brown paper bag for this part, because this part is going to be the cone. So once I had that completely covered, I glued it to the other half of the styrofoam cone, wide ends together. And now I'm going to add the ice cream part. So I took some white and some pink carnations and I started gluing them around the cone. Now the white ones were larger, so I did one row of those, and then I added 2 rows of the pink because they were a little bit smaller. And then I added 2 more white ones to the top just to finish it off. And I guess I forgot to hit record when I added one little red one to the top to look like a cherry. And look how cute it is so far. So then the next thing I did was I cut a tag shape out of a piece of cardboard, and I just sponged some Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster over the top of it. And when it was completely dry, I sanded the edges, and I did poke a hole into it, and I sanded the front of it. And that'll give it a nice kind of old, distressed look. Then I took these words that I cut out of a napkin that I had, and I used a wet paintbrush to go around the words so I could tear it instead of having that straight edge to it. And I did that to both those words, and then I did separate the plies of them. And I'm going to Mod Podge them onto that tag. And the way I did it was I put the Mod Podge right onto the napkin because I didn't want to cover the entire tag with the Mod Podge. So you have to be careful because it is really flimsy. But then I put it right, centered it onto the tag. And when I was doing the word summer, it did pull off the R, but it easily fixable. I mean, you'll see right here, it kind of tore, and then I just kind of placed it back down in the right spot. And then I smoothed the whole thing out with my fingers. I did have to add a little bit of Mod Podge here and there to the edges that didn't stick. But then I took an emery board and I kind of went over the word just to smear it a little bit and lighten it up. Next, I took this wreath form. I got this at a yard sale. I don't remember what was on it, but I just pulled all the decorations off of it. But I do think they have similar wreath forms at the dollar store. And this was already white, so I just went in with some sandpaper and I distressed it. Once I was done doing that, I added some markings to the cone. So I used Waverly Antique Wax and I just drew some lines and I kind of crisscrossed them. And then I took a paper towel and I wiped back a lot of the excess, and that really lightened it up a lot, and it turned out really great. And now I'm going to attach my tag. So I just put some twine right through that hole and I just tied it right around the cone into a knot on the back. Now to attach the cone to the wreath, I poked a needle and thread right through the styrofoam. I want to say this is either crochet thread or embroidery thread, but it is a little bit thicker. And I just placed it where I wanted on the wreath form, and then I flipped it over and I tied it into a knot on the back. And then I did add a little bit of hot glue to the bottom of the cone just so that it stays in place. Next, I added a bow, and this was just a simple bow made from 2 different kinds of ribbon, one larger and the smaller one on top. And then I added just a little crisscross bow to the center just to pull in some of the pink. And then I put a button in the center of that. And then I did flip it over and I added a piece of ribbon to the back for a hanger. And it turned out so Adorable. I love this wreath. I think it is so cute. You can make these any colors you want. It would be really cute with patriotic colors too. But I hope you like the project and I hope you give it a try. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.